I've always had a heart for animals. If I ever see anything like injured on the side of the road, anything, then I've always stopped, pick it up, help it. Try looking for anything alive that's here. We've rescued thousands of dogs since we've been up and running. Okay, pretty girl, you're okay. I could pick up hundreds in just one dog run. This is a very, very bad case of mange. It's very painful. They can die from it, so he wouldn't have lasted much longer for sure.
For thousands of years, dogs have been a part of life in the Canadian wilderness, providing protection, transportation, and companionship. But change has come to this life. Snow machines mostly do the work now. Still, the dogs remain in many remote First Nations communities, loved, but sometimes feared. There is a struggle to find a better life, to break the cycle of poverty and despair brought about by colonization and the dark legacy of residential schools. Today, health, education, housing, and clean drinking water are the priorities. In many places, there is little money left for the dogs, little access to veterinary care. The result? Without spay and neuter clinics, the dogs breed and multiply, sometimes roving in wild packs. They have become a dangerous nuisance in some communities. The elders and the young are the most vulnerable. There have been attacks, even a few deaths. In some places, they must take precautions while out walking. Volunteers are struggling to make things safer for both people and dogs.
I'm Jasmine Colucci, and I grew up in Transcona, Winnipeg, Manitoba. I have been living in Bloodvein First Nation for 2 years. I started about 5 years ago when I was in nursing school. I just brought home one dog to foster. It wasn't really enough for me. I wanted to help out more. I did my practicum beside Sandy Bay, because I'm First Nations too. I didn't realize how overpopulated Manitoba was until you go into these rural areas and just dogs everywhere.
Jasmine has always been an animal lover, but when she learned about the problem with strays on some reserves, she found her passion.
I came up with the name Canine Advocates because I didn't want to be a rescue. I didn't want to just bring in dogs and adopt them out. I wanted to be an advocate for these dogs. I actually go in the communities and I talk to the people and this is what you should be doing with your dog. Here's some food. This is how you feed your dog, you know? You should get your dog spayed so she doesn't have a million puppies.
First Nations nurse Jasmine Colucci and her friend Dave Brooker created Canine Advocates Manitoba. They've rescued thousands of strays, and they offer advice to local people about managing dog overpopulation and lobby governments for more funding to help the communities deal with the problem.
Dave Brooker, I met him probably about 4 years ago. I brought in this dog that was stabbed with a screwdriver to an adoption fair, I believe it was. And Dave was there buying food for his dog. And he met this dog and he fell in love right away. His name is Major. Wanted to know what his story was. So they're like, contact Jasmine Colucci, she's the one that brought him in. And then Dave contacted me, we got to talking and I told him the story of the dog and he said, I want to help out like you help out.
You know, I've been in and out of it all along, but I've always had a passion for animals. We came to Canada in '67 and the family, we had dogs right away. I remember going to the Humane Society with my dad and getting a dog. Before the furniture, you know, we got a dog. I had a friend that, she's from a reserve, but she was living in the city. So We'd go and visit her folks every once in a while, and pretty much every time we went there, I would bring back at least one dog and found it at home. And that was in the 70s, like probably about 40 years ago now.
He's like one of my best friends now, and he's 50-something. Dave is very selfless, so selfless. He's the kind of person that will give you the shirt off his back in a heartbeat. He does things for kids. He spends hours of his own time, days, to do these things for others.
I've gained a huge amount of respect for her. She sacrificed a lot to make this all happen, and it's been a learning curve for both of us. And I know she's personally given up not just money, but time and a good chunk of our lives to do it. And I wouldn't change anything. Life's been good to me, so I'd like to try and spread it around a little bit.
Jasmine and Dave both have jobs. They share the volunteer work at Canine Advocates. Jasmine uses social media to raise money. She arranges the rescues and finds new homes across Canada for the dogs in their care. Every week, Dave travels to the communities to collect animals and distribute dog food.
I've created a lot of relationships, Dave and I, on these reserves, and we get contacted all the time from people that actually genuinely care about their animals. So it's nice. Yeah, it gives us hope.
To me, she has a soft heart, you know. She wants to work with people, and she wants to do things for the people, the community, especially with elders.
Today, they are packing up Dave's van to go on one of their weekly trips to distribute donated dog food and pick up the latest batch of strays.
It's going to be a busy day, probably better part of 12, 14 hours, I bet, by the time we get back. Yeah. We've got a bunch of puppies that another rescue group in Saskatchewan's going to take over, and we're going to go to Sandy Bay and Ebb and Flow First Nations. We help support the community a little bit with some of the initiatives that we're trying to get going. So I've been trying to figure out a way of how do we make things better, not just for the animals, but for the people, to help the animals in some areas where there's no vet care or limited resources in that.
A network of volunteers collects donated dog food for Dave and Jasmine. Some communities have no access to vets, and in some places, pet food can be expensive for families on tight budgets. Dave and Jasmine sometimes find dogs suffering from malnutrition, dehydration, and disease.
The farther you go up north, a bag of dog food that's $20 here is $40 or $50. A lot of it is donations, broken bags from stores. You know, once it's broken, they can't sell it. You get quite a bit from all over.
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
Canine Advocates works closely with rescue organizations in other provinces. Before heading north, they will rendezvous with a colleague from a Saskatchewan Humane Society who has agreed to take some puppies and put them up for adoption.
They do like a 2-3 hour drive. I do the 3-hour drive to Brandon, and I'm going to be giving them 6 puppies. These other provinces, their humane societies have wait lists for people. Like the people want to adopt a dog, but they don't have dogs there. Ours is, there's a wait list of 40 dogs at our Humane Society and no adopters because we have a problem here.
We already have a waiting list of people who want puppies. Oh, really? Yeah, Weyburn just never has puppies. When there's an excess amount of puppies in other areas and our shelter numbers are low, we help other areas out because we all have the same goal, just rescue animals and get them good homes. We're really promoting spay and neuter at our shelter, so there's not very many litters in Weyburn, so by us bringing them in, they do go to good homes really quickly.
The further out you go, the higher the population of dogs. They just had a spay and neuter clinic, but they still have a huge problem there.
Dave and Jasmine know where to look for dogs in crisis.
I've walked up to piles of garbage. You really have to look hard. They don't want us to see them because they're scared. All we can do is try looking for anything alive that's here. Yeah, there's a carcass right there. But a lot of the people, if they throw carcasses here, they just light them on fire. This is the kind of thing that breaks my heart. This dog was inside a garbage bag and it died. Somebody put it in a garbage bag. That breaks my heart.
This is an extremely complex issue, and we have to be cognizant that when there's no running water, when the nurse station is empty half of the time, when teenage suicide rate is very high, dogs are part of a very complex mix of needs for First Nations. We have in the city of Winnipeg and other cities throughout Manitoba some animal control policies, so there are some licensing in place and enforcement. In other communities in rural and northern Manitoba, there's no such thing. And what that means is that there's no control. And when there's no control, you have an animal overpopulation situation. And essentially, it is almost like a leaking pipe. You have the pipe is dogs that are not spay or neuter, and they reproduce because that's their genetic mandate to do. And then you have a lot of individuals and rescues trying to take those puppies, take those animals out. But if you don't fix the pipe, if you don't really start spay and neutering at large numbers, you're continually going to see this problem.
I could save as many dogs. There's always going to be just more and more unless I go to the root of the problem.
The resources aren't there to provide vet care and clinics to spay and neuter.
There's no allocated funding for catchers, for vets, or for pounds to house the animals.
Chief Lance Roulette of Sandy Bay First Nation explains the challenges faced by many of Manitoba's Indigenous communities.
The idea of ensuring that we promote the issue of safety has got to be the main concern. Making sure that we do it in the most ethical way, and also that's something that's not contrary to our cultural beliefs.
When these dogs pack up, they get that pack mentality where they will bite. They do become very aggressive, and it's just gotten to the point where it's just out of control.
Is it dead?
The option that a lot of rural and northern communities are using is culling. It's kind of a hammer type of approach to animal control, but it reduces the number of roaming animals.
Federal and provincial governments don't fund dog registration and population control on reserves. Confronted by dangerous dogs, some communities have no other option. The word goes out. Any dog not locked up on a designated day will be shot.
We had one guy who was doing calling. I kind of have mixed feelings on the issue itself, just basically because there's a spirit in everything. If that was us, would we want that to happen to us? Right. And I think that's where a lot of people don't see it like that.
Dog culls or dog shoots are a necessary part of most communities due to overpopulation of animals. It's better to have a smaller, healthy, managed population than a bunch of stray dogs running around where people are scared and the kids can't go to school because of the pack of dogs following them around. And less dogs equals less dog bites, less strain on the system.
Instead of culling, that's a Band-Aid, really. You can cull, you can, kill as many dogs as you want. There's always going to be more because all it takes is that one female.
I think the money that is being spent on fixing dog bites with kids and adults and the cost of the culls and everything like that, a lot of that money could go into a program to prevent that from happening.
There needs to be a law, don't bring in more females. And if you do, spay them.
Wake up very quickly.
Jasmine and Dave promote the use of chemical spay and neutering for reserves with a dog problem. It costs less. No surgery is needed. It's a solution supported by many humane societies.
I have actually emailed Justin Trudeau, and I did get a response. I said something needs to be done on these reserves with all the dog population. There's different drugs out there. There's some called Zuterin and Goncon that I looked into, and it's actually an injection that will sterilize up to 15 years, which is lifetime of a dog. I included that on my email. I said, can you make that legal for vets to use? They emailed me back and said, this isn't our problem, basically, yeah. They said, you need to talk to your MLA or the chief of the reserve. And I said, you think I didn't do that? There's nobody left to talk to try and get anything changed.
Jasmine has always helped those in need.
Jasmine was, as a little girl, she was very adventurous. She's always loved being outside. Her and I would catch frogs together, and I think that's really where her love for animals started.
At 9 years old, I walked in her bedroom one time and there was cocoons hanging around her dresser. And Jasmine, what are you doing? What's with these cocoons? Why are they in the wall? Well, it was raining and they were falling off of the garage, and I wanted to rescue them. Well, a week later, I go in there and I find exotic butterflies flying around. I'm there, wow, what's going on here?
I had a pig that I saved from a butcher that I brought home, yeah. Just you name it, I probably brought it home.
A baby raccoon. It was following her around the house, and it was sitting on the bed with her and putting his claws through her hair and like combing her hair.
The line had to be drawn when I walked in her room, and I found a 20-pound cub bear, and I was just startled, and it didn't look like it was even alive, and she had put an IV on it and cleaned up its wounds and whatever, and sure enough, 2 days later, it just bounced up and, you know, and tried to jump out her window. So, yeah, I said, that's I think where we should draw the line right there. No bears. We call her Mother Jasmine Teresa. She went to Africa as a nurse over there and helped out, and just the things that she's seen, you know, she realizes she wants to save the world.
I don't know how she does it, how she burns a candle on both ends, working as a nurse, you know, going on these missions trips, saving all these dogs.
Friends and family have watched and sometimes worried as Jasmine's dog rescue work has turned from an interest to an all-consuming passion.
Before I started fostering, I did have a lot more of a social life. I had a lot more friends. I had a boyfriend. I can't help it. I know I won't sleep at night. If I know that somebody contacted me about a dog that really needed me and I didn't go, I won't sleep at night because I know what's gonna happen to that dog. It's not that it's something that I choose. People think, oh, you're doing this as a hobby. No. This is me not being able to turn my head from something that really needs me. Dogs have consumed my life. So this is Bloodvein First Nation. This is where I work. I'm a home and community care worker. I often go to the elders mostly, their homes, check their vital signs, make sure they're okay. I hold programs, educational bingos for them. I also do foot care for them. And I love it. Yeah, I love working in this community. It's a beautiful community. Like, it's beautiful here. As much as I love doing the dog rescue, I also love, you know, humans and kids. Dogs aren't my entire life. So I became a nurse, a human nurse for a reason, right? So when I see the need, like the kids that don't have much to do here, it is very heartbreaking. So yeah, it's not just the dogs that break my heart here. Yeah, that's why I like to be just as active with the humans as I do the dogs. I just want to help the community, really. I like coming out and playing with the kids because they need exercise. I remember when I was a kid, we had lots of extracurricular things to do in the city, right? It's different out here. They don't have as much to do, so it's good they get active, and it's good for me too to get active, because otherwise I'd be sitting in and watching TV, or actually the cable here doesn't work half the time. So it's fun. These kids they're fun. I advocate for the dogs. These dogs don't have voices, so I want to be their voice, you know? So Dave and I both, when we go there, we always ask. I'll never take. No matter the condition of the dog, I'll always ask the person, like, hey, is this your dog? Do you know whose dog it is? Is it a stray? Can I take it? I don't believe in people that go there and just steal the dog. If I see a case that I'm concerned about, we call the provincial vet of Manitoba, and they'll actually go there and they'll help us out, like, legally. We'll actually knock on the door and have conversations with these people. We try and be the voice for the dogs. We're the advocates, and spaying and neutering is advocating for dogs as well, right? So that's really what my idea is of what I created in this organization. We do what we can, but we know that we're never going to be big. But we have rescued thousands of dogs since we've been up and running.
Canine advocates, of course, they do a few things that every rescue should do. One is to work with the community. So they're known, and they just don't go in and take an animal. They actually explain and get their permission before they do anything. And then they understand the importance of spay and neuter.
It's a huge uphill battle, and I don't know in my lifetime if I'll ever see it, but I'm hoping that in the future, at some point, this can be under control.
We have like no flights this week. Only Thursday is the runs.
We do work with different shelters as well, Brandon Humane Society, the Winnipeg Humane Society. But they're at capacity as well, like, you know, so sometimes we have to, you know, think outside the province to get dogs homes, and that's been a bit of a challenge, but it's working out.
Plus, what's her name, Belle? Are going to Toronto.
It's been quite an interesting journey.
Jasmine and Dave say they will continue working with the people and caring for the dogs, while community leaders seek funds and a long-term solution.
We don't get direct funding for canine control. It's more along the lines of it's more basically that we need to find a way to do this on our own.
We need, you know, some veterinarian care that happens on an ongoing basis, and we need some animal control policies in place that each region or area can actually enforce in the manner that they see fit. How can we facilitate that?
The issue of funding is always going to be the key, so we have the right resources in place to, once again, provide the pounds. You know, have somebody there to take care of the licensings of the animals, the tagging.
But experts say empowering the people to improve pet care in their communities is just as important.
You know, money can solve some issues, and then the willingness to solve the issue needs to be there, and that needs to come from the community. We can't just go in and tell them what to do. They need to also say, you know what, it is time for us to make a change.
Because ultimately it's also the membership that needs to be accountable as well. And them to take those proactive steps into ensuring that they're respecting the animal.
We would like to see the federal government, the provincial government, get together and devise a strategy in which they will support financially and logistically these communities, so we can reduce the number of animals that are being, you know, roaming and being in packs, because that is actually a health and safety issue for our kids in Manitoba.
I know that we've heard the horror stories of dogs, you know, attacking children, you know, and that's the one thing that we as a community and any other community wants to try and avoid.
Winter in northern communities is when canine advocates sees the most death amongst the dog populations. A lack of proper housing and care leads to deaths from dehydration and exposure.
People think that, oh, I don't have to give my dog water because they can eat snow. Well, by the time the body metabolizes the snow, because it has to heat it up first, right? And the snow, you can have 1 cup of snow and it gives you maybe like a tablespoon of water. So they're not getting the proper hydration they need, and all of their energy, especially for starving dogs, all of their energy is being used to heat up this ice that they're drinking. So they do, a lot of them pass away. They can't, if they do hunt, right, like eat mice, squirrels, whatever, that's not as accessible in the winter. So I see a lot of deaths, a lot of freezing puppies. The chances of a litter making it in the winter are like 1 in 50. Yeah, this is what we target right now before winter hits, pregnant dogs, because their litter will not make it. Puppies, any dog with a short coat, anything that's super skinny and starving because they don't have the energy to be able to produce heat. We're trying to provide houses with dog houses, so it's a challenge. It's a huge, huge challenge. It's gonna get crazy. It's gonna get very busy, very fast.
On the Ebb and Flow Reserve, Jasmine and Dave find hope for a brighter future in Nadine Bone, a local volunteer who has been fostering puppies.
Oh, hi, guys! I had to put them in there. I had nowhere to put them.
Oh, yeah, no, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Yeah, they're out of the window.
The one by the garbage can is never been tied up before, so I tied her up because I have males.
Volunteers like Nadine share invaluable insights into each reserve's unique needs. Forging relationships with Nadine and others like her is key.
I've always liked dogs ever since I was little. I'm not sure what made me start taking them all in and giving them all away. Contacting Jasmine most of the time, yeah.
So there's 6 of them, that's not bad. She helps out a lot. Every time she goes to the dump, she'll call me like, there's a puppy here, taking it home. Come get it. So she feeds it and stuff. Her dogs are very well taken care of, and they're chained up so they don't go and get other dogs pregnant and stuff. She takes care of them.
Oh, you're okay, pretty girl. You're okay. Good girl. We're gonna go for a car ride.
Each trip brings new challenges and unanticipated expenses. Jasmine and Dave often pay the bills with their own money.
This dog is ready to pop, I'd say within the week. So now she became our priority. We have a flight tomorrow morning. So I was gonna put puppies on the plane, but change of plans all the time. So now our new plan, she goes tomorrow morning.
Yeah, we have to push her bum, like hold on to her arm.
Different communities, different chiefs have something different to say about it, really. Some are grateful, some don't care what I'm doing. They just, okay, sure.
Oh, I'm out of breath.
Okay, I just wanted to ask, because I don't want to go stealing puppies, right?
I'm David.
We're gonna give him some dog food, Dave.
Sure, yeah.
So we asked him if he wanted some dog food. He said, yeah, thank you. And turns out he doesn't even know whose puppy this is. He said, take it. He said he doesn't even know how it ended up at his house. Oh, thank you. You'd be surprised how often that happens. Now, one more girl we got. No babies for you.
The focus is on helping the animals and then helping the communities. We've got a pretty good network of people within the communities that help out, you know, so we kind of support them to support the community.
Nadine Bone takes Jasmine and Dave to a home where there is a new litter of puppies.
Oh, look at how many there are.
Oh, not 3 puppies.
Hi, beautiful.
All of them? Okay.
I thought there was only 3.
Okay, we can do that. Each of these houses probably have, I'd say, 2 to 8 dogs per house on reserve. Yeah. And these people want help. They do. I get contacted a lot because they need help with these dogs. It's not that they don't want the help.
Put a couple of zip ties in it.
This one?
Yeah.
They know that there's a problem too. There's a lot of barriers that we have to cross. A lot to get this problem under control.
We gotta pull our heads out of our butts to get on track and be the voices for these animals as well.
a lot of these people, when I go to their house and say, hey, you have a female dog, can I bring it back with me and spay it? Oh yeah, go ahead, for sure, thank you.
Awesome, thank you so much. I appreciate it that you contacted us anyways.
All it takes is one person to say no. So I've had somebody say, my kids like playing with the puppies though, just let her have one more litter. So, and they do, and then they'll give away the puppies into the community, and then I have to deal with those puppies having puppies, right? So all it takes is one non-compliant person to create this whole problem.
Okay, see you. All right, thank you.
Jasmine and Dave usually tour each community looking for dogs in need.
Hi. Oh my gosh. Oh, you are so sick. Look at your breathing.
Jasmine puts her nursing skills to work.
This is a very, very bad case of mange. Dogs can get, it's a parasite that dogs get when they're malnourished. He's very underweight. They can die from it, so he wouldn't have lasted much longer for sure. It's very painful. It's very itchy, so he scratches until he bleeds. So his head is all scabby and full of blood. Well, this one's gonna be extensive treatments. So I'd say this dog has been like this for most of his life. This dog is only like maybe 7 months old, 8 months old. He needs to be on long-term antibiotics. We're gonna have to quarantine him.
Yeah, it's not the biggest one, but it'll work.
That's okay. Here, baby. You're okay. Okay. Good? Ooh. Okay, I'm just gonna sanitize my everything.
Jasmine being a nurse is great because she understands the issue of transportation and health.
Oh, I'm a little tired.
You have to be very careful in terms of isolation, but also in terms of understanding, you know, what do we know about this animal, what tests we need to run. And she gets all that. And it's great to work with someone that actually understands the issues around transporting animals in a humane way.
So now we're gonna go to Sandy Bay. It's about half an hour from here, 45 minutes.
45 minutes.
Yeah, it will definitely be dark by then. And then we're gonna just take a quick stroll at the dump. We don't have any dogs there to pick up, but I mean, if we find anything on the side of the road or something, we'll be picking it up. They always hang out at the front of the dump. So they're usually over here. If any kind of competition that we see, they cuddle up to Steve. Yep, here's one. Found one. And there's a dead one. Oh my god. This one just passed away. Yeah. Jeez. It's okay, baby. It's okay.
I got my
You're safe now. Oh, it was cuddled up here sleeping. Oh god, that just kills me. It's okay, baby. You're safe. You're safe. We came too late. Sorry, buddy. Sorry. It looked like it was attacked by something. And then dumped off here, and it curled up, went to sleep, and passed away. It happened at some point today because the body is fresh still. But at least we saved one life, right? We have to look at the positive. That's all we really can do when we're doing this. That keeps us going. There's one dead beside us.
Yeah.
Is it dehydrated?
No, not too bad.
It always goes through my head, what if I came earlier today? I should have come earlier. I could have saved that puppy. You know, I could have been here when a human came and dropped it off. Now we're gonna just head home. It's been a long day.
But the day's not over for Dave and Jasmine. It's a 3-hour drive back to Winnipeg, where they will have to offload, bathe, and examine the dogs. then quarantine some of them and get others ready for a flight leaving in a few hours. It's always a struggle to find volunteers willing to provide foster homes, while arrangements for permanent placements in other provinces are made. Tonight, they will have to take the dogs with the greatest need home with them. The rest will wait for volunteers to arrive in the morning.
We saved about 20 dogs today. One from the dump, one unfortunately didn't make it. But all in all, it's been a positive, good day. Hi, my name is Jasmine. I booked a flight for Toronto for 2 kennels for this Sunday.
Jasmine and Dave often pay for rescues and transportation out of their own pockets. The bills pile up. It's a lot of pressure.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Bye, have a nice day, thank you.
You too, bye. Now we have a flight for 2 of the orphans. The rescues can't afford it, so I paid for those. That was almost $1,000. Yep.
Dave attempts to balance the fairness of taking care of himself and his work with canine advocates.
Probably in the tens of thousands a year. You know, the gas, I pay for the van, all the gas, and some of these trips it's maybe only $150 or so, but you're doing that every week, you know, and that adds up. You have to worry about the money, but you try not to. I mean, that you want it to be secondary as far as what your goals are, but you know, money's a big part of it.
So why do you do it?
Why? For the love of animals. And if it didn't bother you, there's something wrong.
I've been found in the dump and nobody else wants to take them.
Jasmine's parents live in Winnipeg. They try to help out.
The money and the time.
They worry about her and the strain of taking responsibility for so many dogs.
It's just so unreal. It's overwhelming, not only for Jasmine, but for us as well. I get up in the morning to go to work and I have 5 puppies in my house. What do I have to do, right? I gotta clean up, you know, and then I have to sanitize my floors and trying to go in my kitchen to make myself a cup of coffee and the puppies are chewing my toes and then I gotta feed them. And we've had so many dogs come and go and our coffee tables have been chewed up, our couches are, you know, wrecked, our blinds are wrecked, our fireplace got chewed. It's just like a domino effect of things that, and it's not the dog's fault. It's not.
No, I wasn't expecting this at all. It did change our, quality of life. I mean, we need to do renovations, and you can't do renovations when you're having dogs, with separation anxiety, and they're clawing away at your baseboards and shredding your blinds. It's a lot of work, and again, I wasn't expecting that in my retirement. I didn't have that in my retirement plans, right?
My sister is a very, very compassionate person. She's very kind-hearted. I know sometimes she needs to say no and she needs to walk away and for her own mental health, but she's not very good at saying no.
We all say we're gonna stop. We're gonna stop, we're gonna take a break. No more, no more. But more dogs keep coming. Just people don't realize the effect that it's having on all these people that are taking these dogs in their homes because they're compassionate and they care about living things, that you don't want them to freeze to death or be thrown in the dump. I worry about the dogs, I worry about Jasmine. You can imagine your own child consuming herself. It affects even our marriage, like our house, our everything. It affects everything. At this point, it's too much. Yeah, I can't do it anymore. It's too hard. And then you feel guilty when you turn them away. You're sacrificing a lot. When it gets to the point where you don't even want to come home from work, you just want to go somewhere else.
It's been a very, very emotional roller coaster. There's certainly highs and certainly a lot of lows. We've been at it for about close to 3 years now, I guess, and every day is different. So we have to try and balance life, work, and the passion for animals. We do as much as we can with what we have, and I know we've tipped in quite a bit of our own money to make this happen. And there's a point where you have to be fair to yourself.
I know that I need to stop. I know that I can't do this anymore. I just physically and mentally cannot continue to bring in the amount that I've been bringing in. Financially, I had to sell my house because I was spending so much money on dogs, and with WestJet, I've spent probably close to $20,000, $30,000 on flights to get these dogs out because I'm like, oh, one more, I'll spend one more. I could literally run myself into the ground doing this, and I will never make a difference. The difference has to come from the government and from the reserves wanting to comply with these laws and with trying to control the population.
Jasmine lives and works on Bloodvein First Nation, which has a population of 900 people. The community faces many of the same problems that plague other reserves, such as poverty, massive unemployment, and drug and alcohol abuse. Arson is a huge problem on Bloodvein, with many homes and the recreation center being burned to the ground. Local youths no longer have activities to keep them occupied and out of trouble. Out of 900 residents, there are 250 youth in the care of Child and Family Services. Jasmine is the only nurse that does not live in the secured health center, choosing instead to live in reserve housing so she can take care of rescue dogs and be closer to the community.
That's the dog that came from the Sandy Bay dump. Come on, Cinnamon. Let's see the kind of mess that this puppy left me. I'm planning on staying here for a long time. I like it here, I do. Even though people have broken into my house and stuff, it's still, that can happen in the city too. Last month, somebody broke in 3 times in a month.
When she's getting the door banging at the door at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and yes, it is a concern. It's also a concern when she's traveling back and forth. You know, it's remote, there's no cell service. I don't know how many times she had a flat tire and she was out there by herself and no way of communicating. You know, so yeah, it is a concern.
The arrival of winter brings on new challenges for canine advocates. They've launched an initiative delivering insulated doghouse kits to the communities they assist.
I've been on a lot of reserves in Manitoba. Not all, there's 63. I've probably visited maybe half of them. Reserves or First Nations are challenging places for most of the time, you know. The sooner you gain a handle on how to understand what's going on, then the community will respond. We do this project, it's called Project Doghouse. In the last 2 years, we've managed to build 115. And not build the doghouses, but build kits. And so I try and fill up the van with usually about 20 is maximum I can take. And then go out to different communities to have the kids and the families actually help put their own doghouse together. And the kids have more fun painting them and decorating them for them with their own personalized for their own animals. And it helps a little bit.
I love his dedication, and I think that's why we connect. I really look to him like that man is a warrior, I tell ya. He'll show up at my house, it's like 9 o'clock at nighttime, and he's coming from the airport dropping off puppies. He's amazing. He has so much energy, it blows my mind. Like, I can't keep up with him.
He's got a job, and then he doesn't stop. He finishes his job, and he's going out to Sandy Bay rescuing dogs and litters of puppies, and Dave's not getting any younger either.
Dave has spent the last 2 months putting together the kits for Project Doghouse. Now, it's the community's turn. It's a win-win.
So if you keep it in line, it doesn't bounce around then, okay?
In winter, the thermometer plunges to minus 40 degrees here. The insulated dog houses offer shelter for outside dogs, and the kids take pride in putting them together with their own hands.
It's been good. I've enjoyed doing it. It's a big project for me. Every time we do one, it takes probably a couple of months of work for me to put it all together.
Dave and Jasmine believe that by teaming up with the people of Bloodvein, the lives of the community's dogs will get better. And they know they're helping the people too. Today, Jasmine's mom has driven 5 hours to provide a meal for everyone.
You know where your doghouse is? Yeah. Okay, what we're gonna do is, this is gonna be the paint station. You're gonna tell us what color you're gonna start with. I'm gonna ask you guys to go to the doghouse, stand in front of the doghouse that you're assigned, and then I'll give you guys the colors once you tell me which color you want. They were so excited. When we did this doghouse project last time, it had an amazing turnout. The kids just had so much fun, they loved it, and they've been asking to do it again since then. It's a really pretty pink.
It is good for the kids because they get busy, they have things to do, and yesterday I saw them, they were excited.
The kids don't really have much to do as far as extracurricular activity after school, so this definitely gives them something to do, gives them, you know, memories too, because when they walk around the community, they could be like, hey, I helped build that doghouse, I helped paint that doghouse. So yeah, the kids really enjoy it. It's fun for them.
You can just go straight through.
Before Jasmine came into our community, the population of dogs was quite high. She's done so much for our community, not only for our people, our patients, our clients under the home care.
Don't be scared.
Bringing in programs like this with the dog houses has been great.
That's yours.
You know, reality is that our dogs are being helped, not just the people.
So after a couple of days of the kids putting together their houses and that, it's time to find them their permanent homes. So we're just doing some deliveries right now.
We're going to a home that the dog has a pretty bad broken front leg. So he's kind of been breaking my heart because he's been sleeping under the steps, and I can see him like physically shaking because he's so cold. There you go, you have a doghouse if you could fit in it because you're huge. Our winters are bitter cold, like minus 40 it gets to, I mean, even worse. Wintertime for dogs, they don't last long out here. I've seen lots of dogs freeze, even with some kind of shelter, they freeze. So these dog houses really help out, de-insulates the bottom of them so that they're not hitting the ground, the cold. So, or at least these dogs have something, some kind of warm shelter against these bitter winds. When I'm driving through these communities, instead of seeing dogs freezing up against houses, like shaking or with their paws in the air because they're so cold, it warms my heart to see them sitting inside a warm dog house. I'm gonna feel better driving through here on a daily basis, knowing that these dogs are warm.
Dave and Jasmine came to us, I would say, just over a year or two ago, and they were doing fundraising for the animals up north, food drives, events, adoptions. If Jasmine has brought back some puppies that she can't find homes for, so we help find them through our customers and maybe friends or family. So we hold adoption events. Our Santa photos, we raised over $900 to help Jasmine. I just love them, and I hope they continue to do what they're doing, and I hope they're successful, and we're going to continue to support them all the way through. Asking the government for help or funding to get these programs in place so that Jasmine and Dave can have the support they need to complete all the rescues and education that those communities are desperately in need of.
This is Ellie, formerly known as Spice, and she comes from Sandy Bay, a rescue, and Canine Advocates rescued her, and she's got a great home now. I don't think she would have survived much longer in the situation she was in if she wasn't rescued and found. I think it's awesome that they find wonderful homes for dogs in need and help dogs out of a really sad and not so good situation.
It's what makes it all worth the effort for Jasmine and Dave and their network of volunteers. Helping the communities and seeing the dogs they've rescued return to health and placed in a good home.
Just the pictures were just like, holy smokes, he was just unreal. How bad. That was probably one of the worst cases of mange I've ever seen. I've fostered dogs in the past with mange, but he was by far the worst. Yeah, very, very little fur left on him. He was so shut down. This poor soul was so sad looking. Like, he was scabs on scabs on scabs. Like, you couldn't actually fully pet this dog. It was just, his whole body was just hard. He had open wounds all over him. It was just terrible. It was the saddest case I've seen, and I've had a lot of fosters, but he was by far the worst case. He's doing amazing. He looks so fantastic. He had to be bathed every 3 days. And now it's been 7 weeks he's been in. The last couple weeks, he just has to go in once a week now. So I named him Lucky Boy. He's a lucky boy to be alive. He was so close to death, so yeah.
Took a while to gain his confidence. I think now he's probably ready to be adopted about 2 months later. Well, that's what it's all about. Even just one dog.
I just want to make some kind of positive impact, and I'm not going to leave until I feel like I have.
We live this life in black and white, see the world through only just our eyes. When I learned I could go blind, I realized it's all disguise. So I go to a space where soaring takes the place of legs and